So if we take the letter R, the first letter of RUAH, it stands for respect. And for Don Bosco, that was essential. You have to respect the young people, respect their journey, respect where they're coming from. And so in Salesian education, respect lies at the heart of what we try to do. And so in Steve's mission here as a teacher and as a Salesian priest, he's going to bring that loving respect, that loving kindness of Don Bosco to the young people in this school and in any other school that he might minister.
So we've come to Thornleigh Salesian College, which is a secondary school, and the head teacher will talk more about the style of the school. But over my vocation journey, I've spent 3 years altogether here. First as a pre-novice in my pre-novitiate, and I was here as a volunteer after my time at Savio House. And then after 4 years of study, I came back to Thornleigh for my first year of teaching. I loved being here, I loved being part of the staff, I loved being with the young people, and I'll talk more about that as we go through. But it was really important for me to experience the love of a Salesian family that you get here at Thornleigh Salesian College.
Young people not only need to be loved, they need to know that they are loved. Welcome to Thornleigh Salesian College. I'm Andrea O'Callaghan and I'm the head teacher here. We are an 11 to 18 school situated in the north of Bolton. We are fully comprehensive, fully inclusive. We're on the same site as the Salesian community.
Part of the story and part of my job here at Thornleigh was to be the chaplain, and I took over from a fantastic lay chaplain. The beauty of this school is they have their own chapel, their own church. And another beautiful thing of this school is that many Salesians have joined the congregation from this school. They've been past pupils, they've been inspired by Don Bosco, and they have become Salesians of Don Bosco. And their names are just up there. Not just Salesians, but also priests. Some are no longer with us, some have gone different paths, but they were inspired by Don Bosco. Just like my vocation story, I was inspired by St. John Bosco.
So here we are at Thornleigh Chapel with the head teacher, Andrea O'Callaghan. Lovely to see you.
And you?
Now, you've known Steve Lloyd for a number of years. He was here on the staff, he was here as a volunteer. What can you say about him, please?
Well, my real privilege to be part of Steve's journey for a really significant amount of time now, about 10 years. Steve came here for his pre-novitiate year and volunteered with us, and then returned in 2019 and trained to be a teacher here. And the journey that he has been on and that we have been part of as a Salesian community has been really inspiring and has made a real difference to our whole school community. I know just from the impact that has had on my own children who were here at school. It's been really significant. So Steve joined us as a pre-novitiate in 2013, and it's just been lovely to be with him in his maybe phase, I'm not sure phase, I think I'm going to do this phase, and now here in the I am doing this phase, this is who I am, this is who I am committing to for the rest of my life. And we're delighted that Steve is going to come back and join us on our staff in September as Father Steve Lloyd. The impact of STE's journey has had a profound impact on me as an individual, and being part of that has made a real difference to my own faith journey and my own professional journey. And I remember really significantly a couple of moments that have happened in the last year. STE was invited back for our mission week. We hadn't seen him for a little while. I arrived back into school for the final service of Mission Week, and Steve stood up to preach to a sports hall full of around 500-600 young people, and he held them in the palm of his hand as he spoke to them so beautifully about his own vocation journey, and then led us in adoration of the Blessed Sacrament, and that absolutely beautiful, poignant moment where all of those children really had such a powerful spiritual experience led by Steve, really touched my heart. And then this year I was in very proud mum zone at Full of the Flame conference in Wembley as Steve pronounced the gospel, brought the gospel to an entire Wembley arena, and then announced that gospel, and then led the whole of the arena, cardinals and all, in adoration of the Blessed Sacrament. And I think to have been part of that journey as a Salesian educator, as a leader of a Salesian community, to have been part of someone's vocation story has been a real privilege for me.
So this is the chaplaincy area where I would work with 30 to 40 kids most days. They would come in for lunch, they would come in for break time, and also they'd just come in when they needed some time out. And I was there to try and support them, but also to challenge them a little bit, which is really important as well. So we're here in the chaplaincy of Thornleigh Salesian College, where for 2 years I spent a lot of my time supporting the young people of the school, but also supporting liturgy of the school. And we've got with us, or with me, some of the students that I taught or I accompanied, and some of them wanted to share one or two things about their knowledge of me, which is a bit scary for me, but also if they've got any questions, we're going to have this opportunity to answer some questions.
Hi, I'm Xander, and Brother Steven, or Deacon Steven, as I should say now.
Okay.
My first question for you is, what was the best part about working in a school like this?
That's a really good question, and I think working in a school like Thornleigh, every day was different. There was no day that was exactly the same, because we had so many different students, so multicultural, but it was fantastic for me to be able to have my first teaching experience in such a huge school, 1,500 students, but also a school that was so welcoming. Everybody, for me anyway, was it was really nice to meet different people and meet their families, but everybody was welcoming, even in those naughty times when I had to tell some of you off, not you, Xander, some of you, won't say any names, but it was really good to be with all of you that were joyful young people.
Yeah. So, I've had many experiences of him, and they're all positive, don't get me wrong. Some of them are hard to remember, but I just remember being in year 7 and walking in and thinking, how can I test him today? How can I ask him as many questions as possible, which I think you would definitely remember.
Yes.
Hopefully good. But it was always very nice to be taught by you in the classroom, and just how enthusiastic you were to help everyone.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Theo, and one question that I have for Brother, should I say Deacon Steven now, is, who was your biggest inspiration as a child, and what made you exactly want to come into this world of the Salesians?
Wow, yeah, Theo, as always, you ask really good questions, even from year 7 right up to now in year 10. I've had a lot of inspirational people in my life, but yeah, it's a good question. But I think one inspirational person and not to embarrass him because he is around somewhere, is a Salesian priest called Father Jerry, and actually he's involved in these different filmings. Because Father Jerry was my parish priest when I was in school, when I was your age. He was my school chaplain, but also my parish priest. And he, a bit like what Xander's just been saying about me, which was very nice, he was always there and always constant and always listening to what I had to say or needed to say, because it might surprise you, I wasn't a very good boy in school. I spent most of my time, especially science classes, outside the classroom. So Father Jerry was always there picking me up, asking me to do things, but always that joyful energy. And he's the one that taught me a lot about St. John Bosco. So probably without him, I wouldn't have been a Salesian. So if I was to really choose the inspirational person, it would be him.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Well, overall, in my nearly 4 years Thornleigh, Brother Steven's always been there. He's been a really joyful person. One memory I do have of him is he took us to Savio House in year 7. And as we were driving along, I told him how long it was going to be, and he called me a talking clock.
Hi, I'm Maisie. I was taught by Brother Deacon Stephen in year 7. Don't know if you might remember me or not. But the question I have for you is, how was your experience in London? Because you've been away from us for quite a while now.
Yeah, good question. Very good question. And of course I remember you. We were in classes together and I taught you and many of your other classmates, which was really, really good. My experience in London, it's been these last 2 years, I'll be honest with you, it's been difficult for me because
You missed us.
Yeah, I did. I missed being at the school, I missed teaching, I missed the north. Because being in London's a beautiful place, but it is the south, and I'm a northern boy, like all of you are northern children. But saying that, I think if I didn't go back to London over these last 2 years, I wouldn't have had the experiences of working in the parish in London as a deacon, for example, and meeting lots of other young people working in our school, St. John Bosco College, Battersea. So I think even though I didn't want to go back, it was really important that I did go back to have a new experience of working with different young people and different people in the world, because it's really important that we do have different experiences, just like you when you go off to university or you go off into your jobs or possibly to our retreat centre, Savio House, as a volunteer. You'll have those different experiences that help you to grow, help you to be a really good person.
My experience with Brother Stephen in year 7 would be and something that I appreciate in teachers a lot, especially Deacon Stephen, is that he was so straightforward with everything that he taught, and he was just so easy to understand, whereas like other teachers, they kind of waffle on a bit, whereas Deacon Stephen was just straight to the point. If you did something wrong, he would tell you did something wrong, but in a patient way, don't get me wrong. And if you were naughty, you were sent out, more or less, which is something that a lot of other teachers should probably take from that.
Hi, my name's Natalie, and my question for Deacon Steve is, out of the numerous mission weeks you've had at school, what's been your best experience?
That is a good question. So we've had a number of mission weeks, and mission week for people watching is a week where we are off timetable and we bring in lots of different visitors to talk and to share about faith, and not just faith but also how we put that into action, how we can be good people, and we always take a theme. So my favourite mission week, it's going to sound really strange, but my favourite mission week was when you were all at home. Exactly. So during COVID times, if you remember, we had mission week through the internet. So we were sending you different activities and you were doing all these different activities, a bit like Taskmaster from home. Those people that were in school, we were doing little bits and bobs with that. That was a really busy week for all of us involved, myself, Miss McKenna, Mr. D'Antonio. But I think to get all of those different videos in of you all doing different things while you're at home, even though we were in an international pandemic, we were all a bit scared, we were all a bit worried about what was going on, you all sent in different videos for us to see that you were okay. And we kept sending things out to you to make sure that you were okay. So I think for me, that was my favourite mission week.
Although Deacon Steve has never taught me, he's been really engaging in the school community. I feel like his commitment to his faith has made me a better observer today, and I've definitely been more closer to my faith than ever before. So I would say thank you.
So my name's Travis, and the first question I have for Deacon Steve is there any key moments that you truly miss about this school that you've now looking back actually truly regret?
Regret leaving or regret doing?
Leaving, no.
Okay, so kind of similar to what I was saying to Xander, and Macy, Xander and Macy. Not that I regret leaving, because it was really important that I did leave to continue my formation as a Salesian. But what I missed most about this school was just being able to walk across the playground and people were shouting or talking to you or asking you questions. I think that in this school particularly, and you'll be surprised, it's not the same in every school, there is a family feel about this school. Even though at times you might feel that you're annoyed or people have upset you or the teachers aren't listening to you, you are part of a family, and you feel it as soon as you walk across the playground or you walk into the canteen. Everybody is quite welcoming and everybody is quite wanting to know about you. So I missed that. I missed talking to people on the playground. Yeah.
So one key experience that I have of Deacon Stephen is during class, the bell went for lunch and most of us would normally run out. However, this time, when I grabbed my stuff and was running, he pulled me over and said, "Do you mind trying to learn these words for chapel assembly today?" With 30 minutes to go until the actual assembly. And I couldn't refuse as there was no backup. So I was sort of led into performing in the chapel assembly then on lines which I hadn't learned beforehand.
Hi, I'm Sophie, and one key question I've got is, why did you leave us?
You make it sound so sad, Sophie. Oh my goodness, it is. Why did I leave? So, as I said before, I didn't want to leave. So one of our vows as Salesian religious is we take a vow of obedience. So obedience, poverty and chastity. And in our obedience, we're asked to sometimes do things that we don't necessarily want to do, and the people that we work with and live with don't necessarily want us to do either. But one of the phrases that we have as Christians, but also as Salesians, is we try to do things for the greater glory of God. So when I was asked to leave Thornleigh, it was so I could continue my studies, so that I could hopefully become a good priest. So in a couple of months, as you know, I will be ordained a priest. And if I didn't leave, I wouldn't have been able to continue those studies for the greater glory of God, to try and help lots of people and answer God's call in my life.
One key moment of when Brother Steven was teaching me was wherever I went, wherever I was, he'd always tell me to pull my socks up and spit my chewing gum out, and I really didn't appreciate it.
Hi, my name's Liam, and my question for Deacon Steve is, what topic did you enjoy to teach students here?
Cool, yeah. So we did so much, because I was chaplain as well, I didn't have a full teaching timetable, so I taught mainly year 7, 8 and 9, and I did a bit of intervention with year 10 and 11. And I really, you probably all hated it, but I really enjoyed when you did the Narnia project. See, I told you. I really enjoyed it because all of you, everyone that I taught anyway, were very creative in what you were presenting. And it was difficult because, again, for those of you that were in year 7 in 2020, it was difficult to do an Narnia project during COVID. But so many of you did it, and so many of you sent different things in. So it was just really, for me, it was really good to see that you made a connection with Narnia, a film, but also the Christian identity within Narnia, the Easter story, the resurrection of Christ, the love of God within the family spirit there, but also just seeing your creativity. Really did.
My key experience with Deacon Steve was when we went to Savio House, and we always used to sing songs like On the Walks, and it was really enjoyable. And he always used to lead the prayers, which made it more of a better place and more connection to God.
So we're walking through the RE department where I was teaching, obviously as part of my job here, but also what's really important of this department is I find it was the centre of the school, because one, all the young people would come out this way, but also a lot of the staff would come and ask for us to support or to guide. It's the spiritual centre of any school, and that's what we try to be in RE. So as a teacher and chaplain here at Thornleigh, it was a really powerful moment for me as a practical trainee, so learning my trait, learning how to be not only a good Salesian but also a good teacher. And here at Thornleigh, it was probably one of the best places for me to try and learn, because with 1,500 students, probably more, with over 100 colleagues in the school, you could bounce off each other, you could learn a lot, you could accompany, like Don Bosco wanted us to, as so many young people on every different day. I would do many assemblies from this chapel, because part of the program here at this school was that they would have a spiritual assembly and a practical assembly. And I spent a lot of my time doing the spiritual assemblies, always looked after by our Blessed Mother. And I think it's really special that in this chapel, myself and Brother Godwill made our final vows as Salesians of Don Bosco. And hopefully, one day in the near future, I will come back to this chapel and I'll celebrate Mass at this altar, just like so many Salesians have done in the past and do today.
Dan, it's lovely to be with you here today. Now, you've known Steve for a number of years through youth ministry, through your work at Savio House, and especially as a colleague here at Thornleigh Salesian College. What would you say the qualities that he brings to this role?
I've known Steve for about 10 years, starting our work in Salesian Life together in the Salesian Youth Ministry projects that we were both involved with, and knowing each other through our connection to Savio House as well. But more recently here, while Steve worked in the chaplaincy RE department at Thornleigh Salesian College, it was great that we shared a particular journey together. Myself as a Salesian Cooperator, and Steve obviously as his formation continued as a Salesian brother and soon to be priest. So obviously our friendship grew during the time we worked together here as well, but also in the dynamic in the department, it was great to have Steve here as a young religious. We continued our difficult, at times, challenging vocation of education.